Hey guys, Double Wide Six, and I'm going to be working on this tractor. It's a Cub Cadet, and it's a 2155. And the problem with this is the oil's filled up with gasoline, so there's probably a needle and seat leak here in the carburetor. But other than that, I think everything else works on this tractor. So we'll start going through it. You can see this engine's pretty dirty. There's a lot of oil and sludge on the outside. The rest of the mower's not too bad. I'm just going to start out by blowing off some of the grass. I'm using a mixture of Dawn and degreaser. And we're going to put this on pretty heavy because, like I said, I got to get into the carburetor on this thing anyhow. Alright, I'm going to be using this wand, and the cool thing is it just hooks up to the hose, and there's two different tips. So right now I have the tip that doesn't spray as hard on there, so we're going to use that. And the brand of this is MATCC, M-A-T-C-C, and I'll put a link down in the description. Now there are adjustable tips here, so they make it so you just unscrew the tip, and this one's the high pressure. It's right on here. It's kind of nice because you don't have to bring out your pressure washer, and then this just holds the tip. And the valve's nice too here for. So first thing I'm going to do on this thing is just suck the what's supposed to be oil. It's mostly gasoline, and the crankcase filled up with gas, and when it started, it went out through the breather valve. It just shot out a bunch of gas and oil. So I want to get the gas out of here, pull the oil filter off, change that right away, and then we're going to take a look at the carb where we have a leaky needle in the seat. I see this problem a lot on the Briggs engines. I don't see too many of the Kohlers that have this issue. So I'm just hooking up some air pressure here to my extractor, and you can see how clear that oil looks. I just unhooked my air compressor hose because I don't want the air compressor to kick on. And you can see we're pretty much down to the bottom. So we'll suck that out and pull off that oil filter right away because that has gas in it as well. So I'm going to try and pull that oil filter off without making a mess. Man, is that tight. I'm going to try a different wrench. Hang on. I was purposely squeezing down here so I didn't wreck the top, so I can pop this thing on here. Oh man, is that tight. I got this pan here. Wow, look at the gas in there. So I don't know, I might have to move this choke cable if I can't unthread this. Yeah, this will give you an idea what that oil looked like. It's mostly, oops, it's mostly gas. So I'm just going to try and, there's a drain plug here. I'm going to pop this and try and catch any residual leakage. Picked up the tractor a little bit and I have it tilting towards the drain. I'm just going to put a little compressed air and hopefully force out any gas and oil remaining. Okay, so I'm just going to let that drip. I think we got it, and we're actually on to the carb. And I can tell you guys, you know, this leaky needle and seat problem on Briggs and Strattons, I'm really not able to fix it unless either I replace the carburetor or I put in a new needle and seat. You know, I've tried several times unsuccessfully, and man, this guy has everything like torqued down hard on this thing. But like I said, I don't get too many of these Kohlers with this problem. So I'm kind of hoping there'd be a problem with the float, like the float filling up with water or something like, or with gas. So anyhow, I'm gonna pull this apart. We'll get in there. Alright guys, so we're pretty much in here. Luckily they've made this carburetor very accessible. Sometimes working on these horizontal engines it's tough. Carburetors aren't bad, but if you got to get in behind the shroud there, like to a coil, it's a lot of work. One mower, I think it was the same mower, but it had a Briggs Vanguard 18 horizontal, had a coil problem, just wasn't killing. And I could see in the holes, you know, like up in here, I could see that there was a wire that was chewed up by a mouse, a kill wire, on one of the sides. But I couldn't get to it. I had to actually remove the shaft drive just to pull the shroud off the thing. I think this machine has about 400 hours. I'm just checking this float to see if it has liquid in it. It does not. So I was taking a look at this thing, just doing a little bit of an inspection and blowing air in it to see what would happen. And I noticed that the needle appears to be a little bit loose. And right now that's closed, but depending how that needle, so if it opens up like that, see how that got stuck? That's actually stuck in the open position because the needle is kind of moving forward. And probably what happened is this little plastic tab on the float up top there, that's probably bent a little bit. So this, you can see it's actually not level. And over time, the fuel got to it and it's bent. And you see how that's not shutting? So fuel's gonna run, but all it takes is a little tap. So I'm going to see if I have another float. I think the seat and the needle are good. I was blowing air in here, and as long as that's shut, it's shutting properly. Well, I was taking a look at this carburetor, and as I said, it was on a Kohler, and there's no markings on it whatsoever. So I don't know, you know, to me it looks like a generic carburetor that Kohler is having someone make for them. So anyhow, I came up with a solution here. I ended up putting, you know, some carburetors have a little clip here that holds the needle. So I was able to find one, and I moved this clip over to here, and I bent this little white tab, and it seems to be working well. So what I want to do is clean out the carb here, and I don't think the carburetor looks pretty clean, so I'm just going to spray it out, we'll put it back together and take it from there. So I just pull a little bit of this off of here so it's not too big. Chuck it up in a drill, and we're going to kind of hone in on this. You can see it definitely pull out a little bit of dirt. Here's a look at how that clip kind of hooks on there. I had to loosen it up a little. You can see the clip's opened up, but that'll just support it just enough that it doesn't move. Alright guys, I just want to make sure that when I fill this thing up with gas that it doesn't leak back into the crankcase and I'll have to change the oil and do the whole process over again. So I've got a test tank here and I have the carburetor hooked up, kind of clamped in place. And this is one of Terrell's ideas from Terrell Fixes All. He has a video on how to make a little test tank like this. So I'm going to fill this up with fuel. And we want to see if that float will hold overnight. So I'll put the cap on and we'll open that up. And then we'll look at the throat of the carburetor and we'll see if fuel's leaking out in this drawer. Apparently that's where it's going to leak. Just putting on the new filter. Not as tight as the last one. Alright guys, I'll let this thing sit a while, and what you want to do is kind of look in the throat and make sure it's dry and there's no leaks or anything. And I'm not seeing anything, and I did have a screwdriver, and before I left I was tapping on it a little bit just to simulate some vibration. And everything stayed dry and seems good. So I'm gonna put this back on the tractor. Alright guys. Well guys, tractor runs pretty good. It cuts nice and even. I didn't try the bag out, but I'm sure that'll work. It looks brand new actually. And there's no smoke, and the transmission's strong on this tractor. So should be a good tractor for someone. Anyhow guys, I'm Double Wide 6, and if you need a fix, check out Double Wide 6. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care.